craziest year in theme park history? It's possible. Buckle up, because this is 2021, a year in review. Everybody, welcome to 2022, but before we dig into those resolutions, we are going to look back on one of the wildest years in theme park history. We're doing a month-by-month report with all the things that you remember, some of the things you don't, that led 2021 to be one of the craziest years ever. We're talking the highs, we're talking the lows, we're talking the what the heck is happening moments, so grab yourself a coffee, a cocktail, or a Gatorade, and let's get to it. Starting things off 12 months ago, January 1st, 2021, we saw the return of park hopping. This was a huge deal because since the parks reopened last summer, 2 summers ago, 2020. Oh my gosh, 2020 has already been 2 years ago. Since the parks reopened in 2020, park hopping wasn't allowed. It was a 1 park per day. You had to make a reservation and that was it. But January 1st, 2021, park hopping returned. Today is January 1st, which means park hopping has returned to Walt Disney World. And you are able to visit multiple parks today as long as after 2 p.m. Now, this is still the rule going into 2022. Park hopping is allowed only after 2 p.m. Will that change this year? I don't know. Stay tuned to find out. January also brought the sweets to Disney Springs, and I'm talking specifically about GIDEON'S Bakehouse and EVERGLAZED Coffee and Donuts. These 2 new shops officially opened in January 2021, making Disney Springs an already bigger foodie destination than it already was. At EVERGLAZED, you can find gourmet made from scratch donuts topped with things like candy bars and cereal, as well as excellent coffees and some savory options, including a burger made on a donut. Not for me, but hey, maybe it's for you. Over at GIDEON'S Bakehouse, it quickly became one of the fan favorite locations in all of Walt Disney World. I am talking hours and hours and hours waiting to get in there to get those delicious half-pound cookies. It is still a cult favorite today. You usually have to get in a virtual line to even get into the bakehouse, and when you do, you will find incredible cookies, signature coffees, giant pieces of cake, and a lot of whimsy. It's like if the Haunted Mansion was a bake shop, and it is fabulous. How many GIDEON'S cookies do we think I ate this year? I don't want to know. On a sad note, Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom closed in January of last year. Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom was a very fun interactive card game around the Magic Kingdom where you would help Merlin battle the villains and save the Magic Kingdom. It was a completely free game and you were able to get cards each time you went into the park. The cards had different characters and their spells on it, so it could have been like Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters or Tinkerbell's Pixie Dust. Then you would go around interactive windows around each of the lands, tap your magic band, the villain would appear, and you could battle them with the different spells. It was a really fun game and a very great activity to fill in some of those long lines, and sadly, it is no more. And now in potentially the 2 weirdest stories of the whole year, both of them took place in January. First of all, my best friend Bruce the Shark over at Universal Orlando completely disappeared. Imagine my surprise when I went to get coffees for me and my buddy Bruce, turned the corner, and he was gone. More on that story in later months. That's called foreshadowing. And in probably the greatest theme park story of all time, Plant Donald blessed us in January of 2021. If you don't know the saga of Plant Donald, basically the animatronic of Donald on the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the 3 Caballeros in EPCOT went missing. Clearly something went wrong with the animatronic, but some genius in Disney Imagineering had the perfect replacement. It was simply a houseplant with a sombrero on its head. It is easily the craziest thing I've ever seen in a theme park, and it was the most enjoyable that attraction will ever be. No shade, I like that attraction just fine, but now I know that it can exist where Donald is replaced by a houseplant. Apparently that was too weird after going viral on the internet, so instead they swapped all 3 animatronics out for cardboard cutouts. Later in the year, they did replace all 3 of them looking refurbished and new, but Plant Donald will always have a space in our hearts. And now it's time for the pop culture moment of January. As we go through each of these months, we're gonna share a highlight with you, particularly in the Disney Plus movie realm. And in January, you may have forgotten already, this is when WandaVision debuted on Disney Plus. This was the first of the big Marvel series, and it completely blew a lot of us away. It was so unorthodox how they did it, progressing through the different decades from going to black and white to color. And honestly, the biggest accomplishment WandaVision did was make a lot of people care about characters that before were kind of just meh. I don't know very many people who are obsessed with Vision or Wanda, maybe Wanda more than Vision because she's definitely cooler. But a lot of people didn't know these characters very well if you're just being introduced to them from the MCU. So getting to dig deep into them was an amazing start to the year for Marvel fans. And let's not forget the true hero of those stories. It was Agatha all along. Who's been messing up everything? It was Agatha all along. Who knew the biggest bop of 2021 would come in January? And that'd be sung by Kathryn Hahn. Not me. But hey, 2021 was wild. Moving right along into February. February was a pretty calm month, probably the calmest month of the year. First of all, the Soul of Jazz exhibit opened in EPCOT in the American Adventure Pavilion. This incredible exhibit showcases instruments, music, and other artifacts from incredible jazz players such as Louis Armstrong, and it's illustrated by the characters of Soul. It was a great addition to American Adventure and World Showcase in general, which has some incredible exhibits that people often overlook. Also in February, Volcano Bay reopened over at Universal Orlando. This is their water park, which did reopen at the end of 2020 and then went down for a very long refurbishment during the cooler months. But happy to say it reopened in February and I got to go for the first time. I had never been to Volcano Bay before, and as someone who doesn't care for water parks, I gotta say, that one kills it. Shameless plug to go watch my water park video. And last but not least, our pop culture moment of February. Oh, I know all the millennials joined me in excitement because Brandy's Cinderella finally came to Disney+. You know, the one where Whitney Houston plays the fairy godmother and Victor Garber plays the prince's dad and Whoopi Goldberg plays his mom. It is a masterpiece. Dare I say, one of the best versions of Cinderella of all time, and we all know there's a lot of versions of Cinderella. But our impossible dreams came true when it finally came to Disney+. And four white mice will never be four white horses. Just Balderall and Fiddly D, of course it's. All right, we're done. March. First things first, Magic Kingdom started an unusual test on how to get people into the park using facial recognition. Similar to unlocking your iPhone using your face, you'd actually walk into the park and it would associate a facial scan with your ticket and you could just breeze right in. It was pretty neat, but haven't seen it since, so maybe that's gone forever. Maybe it'll come back sometime this year. I don't know, something weird that happened though. Also in March, Blizzard Beach, the first Disney water park to reopen, finally reopened after the closures. It was a unique experience going on opening day because it was like 60 degrees outside and it was a pretty empty water park, but Blizzard Beach did reopen. It is still open now. Typhoon Lagoon, Disney's other water park, has yet to reopen since the closure. But if you want your water time, head to Blizzard Beach, enjoy Summit Plummet. Also in March, pop-up characters started becoming more plentiful. Previously, when the parks opened, most of the time when you wanted to see your classic friends, it was going to be in a cavalcade. They would breeze down the street real quick as to not form a crowd, but there wasn't a lot of time for an intimate conversation with friends like Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, Pluto, etc. However, we started seeing distance meet and greets pop up at the front of EPCOT, on the lawn at Hollywood Studios, which still kept you at a distance. It still kept everybody safe, but it did allow you to have a little bit more of a conversation and take a nice picture with your favorite characters. These pop-up meet and greets are still happening today, and while some modified meet and greets have come back, we're still seeing versions like this all over the parks. And our pop culture moment of March, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier made its debut on Disney+. This followed Bucky Barnes and Sam Wilson as they continued their adventures following Endgame. It also brought us the Zemo dance, a highlight for everyone, and unfortunately John Walker. Not my cap. April. Now we're cooking with grease, friends. Things are starting to roll along a lot quicker than they had at the beginning of the year. First things first, Disneyland finally reopened. Disneyland was closed for over a year, shutting down in March 2020, and it didn't open until the very end of April 2021. There were a lot of rules and restrictions in place. For example, only local residents were allowed for the first few weeks. There was a lot of safety and health standards as we saw in Walt Disney World, but Disneyland did finally get to open their gates again. And when they opened their gates, a new attraction came with it. Well, sort of. Snow White's Scary Adventure has been transformed into Snow White's Enchanted Wish, and it is an incredible upgrade on this already classic attraction. All they did was add a few touches of new elements, some new technology moments sprinkled in, and it still has that classic Disneyland dark ride feel, but it feels new and fresh. And honestly, it's how they should do any classic upgrade ever. It's so cute. If you're in Disneyland, definitely check it out. But beware, the witch is still there. Not trying to be topped by Disneyland though, a very important attraction reopened at the Magic Kingdom, and I'm talking about the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. The People Mover did not reopen with Walt Disney World in summer of 2020. It stayed closed for over a year, but it finally reopened in April. And I know if you are like me, it is the perfect, most comfortable attraction to enjoy during a long Magic Kingdom day. Kick your feet up, get those views of the castle, and I know we were all thrilled when the People Mover opened. If you're Team People Mover, let me know in the comments. More character news came in April. Two incredible ladies joined the lineup in the Magic Kingdom cavalcades. I'm talking about Moana and Mulan. You can see both of them up on the train station from time to time, and they joined the cavalcades. Moana in the Fantasyland Friends cavalcade and Mulan in the Princess cavalcade, and it was awesome to see both of these characters because they're so beloved. They're such great role models for girls. I don't know if you're like me, Mulan is one of my favorite princesses, but I was so excited to see them out in the parks. Over at Universal Orlando, some brand new stores opened on City Walk. They moved the Universal Studios store to a bigger storefront, and you can find all your favorite things from Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, Marvel, Fast and the Furious, Transformers. It's all right there in this beautiful big new store. But what's even better than the big new Universal Studios store is they turned the old one into the Universal Legacy store. This is where they featured a lot of throwback collections from old attractions that no longer exist, like Back to the Future, Jaws. They've also got stuff from E.T. They also have things from Harry Potter, from attractions that are closed. And it's a really, really cool store because they have different artifacts, not only from the park itself, but the actual movies that inspired these rides. I'm talking about the Goblet of Fire they used in the old Dueling Dragons queue. I'm talking about a model of E.T. used in the film, and I'm talking about Chief Martin Brody's actual screen-worn jacket from Jaws. I cried a little bit when I saw it.
Do you feel comfortable with any of it?
I'm actually crying. Sorry. And probably one of the most shocking tales of the month, if not the whole year, the Skyliner crashed. No one was hurt, but two gondolas did collide, which is not what you want, at the Hollywood Studios station. So, whoopsies. Another big moment of April is Trader Sam, the head salesman of the Jungle, was removed from the Jungle Cruise. It was announced earlier in 2021 that the Jungle Cruise on both coasts would be going under refurbishment to update some outdated cultural representations and add in some new scenes. So they didn't really give a full date at Disney World like they did at Disneyland. It didn't reopen all new. Basically, you would just ride the ride and things would be missing. But the most notable thing to be taken away was Trader Sam. It's been since replaced with some very cute monkeys at Trader Sam's outpost, but we did say goodbye to Trader Sam in April of last year. And a big pop culture moment for us all. Get ready, friends. I bet you forgot this. Secret of the Whales, the documentary directed by James Cameron for National Geographic, debuted on Disney Plus for Earth Day. May started off strong with Festival of the Lion King finally reopening. This was one of the first stage shows to come back. I was at the first performance of Festival of the Lion King in over a year, and let me tell you, the vibe in that theater gives me chills just thinking about it. It was absolutely incredible to see those performers back on the stage, and while the show is modified, there's no tumble monkeys, the birds don't fly right now, they do a beautiful, beautiful dance. Standing ovation for that crowd. I get chills just thinking about it because it was so amazing to see live performances coming back to Walt Disney World. I can't even talk right now. I'm so glad that show is back. Okay, this is getting embarrassing. Oh my gosh. Bruce, my best friend, also returned to Universal Orlando. He did look a little weird, kind of like the Joker. He just had red marks right here and a big goofy smile and fresh red blood all over him, and he was just hanging like this. I quickly figured out it's because the rope didn't return when Bruce did, and it eventually did. So don't worry about it, Bruce looks normal again. But for a while, my man looked like the Joker. couple of safety updates happened in May. First of all, temperature checks stopped at the parks. You no longer had to get scanned for your temperature when walking in. And big one here, friends, masks were no longer required outdoors at both Disney and Universal. In fact, a few weeks later, Universal dropped the mask mandate indoors as well. This was a huge update to the policy that had been in place since these parks opened the year before. And our pop culture moment of May, Cruella made its debut on Disney Plus Premier Access, meaning you could purchase it if you'd like to watch it. It became free in a few weeks after that, but I did pay for Cruella. Can't say I'm mad about it. Can't say I loved it either. I really enjoyed both of the Emmas. I thought the soundtrack was incredible, and I really liked the style of the film as well as the fashions. But I gotta say, they jumped the shark a little bit on some of these things. Let me know your thoughts on Cruella down in the comments. June. Oh, I'm tired just thinking about how busy June was. This was a big month this year as far as theme parks go. And let's start off with one of the biggest and best things to come in the theme parks anywhere, and that is Jurassic World VELOCICOASTER opened at Universal's Islands of Adventure. This incredible coaster features a 155-foot drop at an 80-degree angle, 2 launches, a hanging inversion, the most incredible animatronics in the queue. It is a bomb roller coaster. It is without a doubt the most fun coaster I've ever been on. Not only do I love Jurassic World and I want to be put into that storyline, but I'm telling you, the raptors in the queue, the Easter eggs for Dr. Ian Malcolm and Dr. Alan Grant and Dr. Edley Sadler in the queue, and then you get on this attraction that completely blows your mind every time you ride it. The best new attraction of 2021, bar none. But Universal took it even further, and they made a hilarious joke when it reopened, referring to it as a churro stand all along. In case you didn't know, Universal didn't announce that VELOCICOASTER was going to exist until it had already been built a lot of the way. They had a lot of the track laid, they had all these different things, and people kept saying, Universal, is that a roller coaster? Universal, is that a roller coaster? And Universal would respond on social media saying, no, it's just a churro stand, don't worry about it. So on the opening day of VELOCICOASTER, they actually had team members there handing out churros, proving it really was a churro stand all along. So slow clap for Universal, because that was brilliant marketing. Universal had some other highlights in June as well. For starters, the Superstar Parade returned. This was their daily parade, and it was the first parade to return to Orlando in the theme parks since the closure, making it a very big deal that this one came back. But Universal also opened up Destination DreamWorks, which, no kidding, is one of my favorite underrated things in a theme park anywhere. This is the best up close and personal encounter I've seen with the characters since any park reopened. It's basically a dance party with your favorite DreamWorks characters from Shrek, Madagascar, Trolls, and you get to just go have a good time with some of your favorite characters, take selfies, watch them do literally very impressive dance moves. And if you're like me, you love Guy Diamond. So there's probably not a lot of you out there, but I get lots of quality time with my main man, Guy Diamond, when you're in there. Still no hugs, still no autographs, but a big step forward to making character meet and greets normal again. In Walt Disney World, over at the Animal Kingdom, Tusker House reopened, making another modified character experience back on the menu, and the Skyliner crashed again. This time it was at the International Gateway at EPCOT Station, and once again no one was hurt, and it was a minor crash, which better than a major crash, but not better than no crash. And last but certainly not least, a huge congratulations to Disneyland, which opened an entire new land. Avengers Campus made its debut at Disney California Adventure, bringing with it Spider-Man web slingers, all new entertainment, new restaurants, new experiences where you can step foot into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, see some of your favorite characters such as Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals. Yes, they've added all the characters as the movies come out. They've continued to add them. Loki had a new costume every week as the show came out. It's a really fun land, especially if you're a big Marvel fan. So I'm going to shamelessly plug all of my Avengers Campus videos for you to go watch, but it is an awesome addition to DCA. Also in June, big safety measure, Disney dropped mask requirements for vaccinated guests while indoors. And speaking of Loki, our pop culture moment of June, 2 great things came to Disney Plus. First of all, Loki, obviously that's what I was leading up to. Got to follow our favorite god of mischief as well as Lightning McQueen himself as they traveled through adventure with the TVA, and Luca, an animated film by Pixar, debuted, both free on Disney Plus. July! Fireworks came back to Walt Disney World. Happily Ever After and Epcot Forever returned to their parks respectively, making it the first time fireworks had come back to a Disney park since the closure. I was there at Happily Ever After reopening night, and while it was raining so Tinkerbell didn't fly, it was a night I'll never forget. I stood there for 3 hours in the rain, getting ready for the fireworks to come back, and just hearing the crowd and feeling the excitement of those being back in the sky. Ugh, it was magical. We love fireworks around here. Neither of these fireworks shows stayed around for very long after their return, but consider that foreshadowing for another month. Hogwarts also got a celebration. This incredible projection show over on Hogwarts Castle and Islands of Adventure is a very fun way to end your day, especially if you've enjoyed yourself in the Wizarding World, so I was glad that one came back as well. Lots of dining news at Walt Disney World. First of all, Citrico's reopened at the Grand Floridian, and it reopened with a whole new look and a whole new menu. The signature restaurant debuted a Mary Poppins theme, but a very subtle Mary Poppins theme, nod to Mary Poppins Returns, the sequel with Emily Blunt. So you've got beautiful, ornate butterflies on certain things, you've got paintings reminding you of Cherry Tree Lane, and you even have the carpet bag and umbrella sitting inside the restaurant. Also, big foodie news, the most popular restaurant in Walt Disney World, Ohana, reopened at the Polynesian, both for breakfast and for dinner. Now, it was no longer a character meal at breakfast, still hasn't returned to the Best Friends breakfast, but it is open for breakfast and all you care to enjoy is skillet. Dinner, when it reopened, was not the Ohana you know and love. It still had the news, it still had the pot stickers, the wings, but the courses looked a little bit different. The menu has since changed and it is back to the original classic menu, but I know I was happy to see those delicious dishes return. Speaking of the Polynesian also officially reopened with brand new Moana-inspired rooms. Now, I know a lot of people were worried that putting character IP would take away from the Polynesian, but in my opinion, they did a really good job adding in just little touches of Moana, making it feel new and fresh, but maintaining that classic 70s Polynesian feel. Very nice, very comfy. Safety update, masks back required indoors regardless of vaccination status for all guests. This is the current mask mandate at Walt Disney World. And your pop culture moment of July, Natasha Romanoff is back and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is here piloting the Jungle Cruise. That's right, both Black Widow and the Jungle Cruise made their debuts both in theaters as well as premiere access on Disney+. Scooting right along to August, first things first, the Hall of Presidents reopened with President Joe Biden being added to the mix. Second of all, Disney After Hours Boo Bash had its first evenings. This is the event that replaced Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, but it was still an after hours event, so it was only 3 hours long. It did include some treats, including trick-or-treating, and there were cavalcades with some spooky characters strolling down Main Street. However, it didn't have fireworks, it didn't have a stage show, it didn't have a proper parade. Beauty and the Beast live on stage returned to Disney's Hollywood Studios, marking more live entertainment coming back. You'll love to see it. Little modified now though, the characters can't get closer than 6 feet to each other. So now Beauty and the Beast just kind of wave at each other and give each other longing glances instead of actually embracing. But I will take live entertainment back in any form. Shocking to no one, it was announced that the NBA experience would be closing forever. The NBA experience really only had less than 6 months of actually being open. It opened at the end of 2019, of course closed with the closure in the beginning of 2020, and then it just never was seen again, and it never will be seen again. So, guess I'll never improve my dunk now. Probably the most harrowing moment for me personally in August, I was stuck on It's a Small World for 90 minutes. It will haunt me for the rest of time. And your pop culture moment of August, what if the Marvel series made its debut on Disney+? I haven't watched this yet, should I? I can't get past the animation of the cartoons. I also am too afraid to listen to Chadwick Boseman for the last time because I will cry hysterically. All right, we have made it through most of the year, but there is a lot to cover in the last few months, starting with September. It's another big one. First things first, Rise of the Resistance, the most popular attraction in all of Walt Disney World, changed from having a virtual boarding group system to a standby line. Previously, the only way to access this attraction was by getting a virtual boarding group, which was hard to get. Some guests didn't get a chance to ride it at all, and now it has a standby line, so you can wait hours in line if you'd like to instead of getting that virtual boarding group. I personally think this is more fair because if you're willing to commit the time it takes to get through that line, then you get to ride the attraction, as opposed to it being a little bit more like a lottery system where it was up to how fast you could click into the join boarding group at 7 a.m. or 1 p.m. So let me know in the comments which one you prefer, if you like waiting in a long standby line, but at least you get to ride it, versus the chance system that was the virtual boarding groups. The Confectionery reopened at Magic Kingdom after a long downtime. It's got a brand new look, but still serves up classic treats. They're really emphasizing their partnership with M&M Mars, so a lot of your classic treats now feature M&M, Snickers, Twix, Skittles. There's even a create your own popcorn section now where you get to mix and match different toppings and different flavors of popcorn. It's really, really cute, looks great, just in time for the 50th, which is coming up soon. Also in time for the 50th, they added party lights to the monorails. It was a really fun thing they debuted at the end of September to kick off the 50th, where all of the monorails have underlit with the color of the monorail. So blue has blue, green has green, gold has gold, you get it. But at night, the monorails look just like super fun and flashy because of these party lights. Oogie Boogie Bash, Disneyland's Halloween event, came back in September, and it featured some pretty incredible characters. They had Sid from Toy Story, Emma Stone version of Cruella, and Agatha Harkness from WandaVision as characters there. They later even added Zombie Cap from What If, proving once again that Disneyland gets all the nice things. No, but seriously, I was watching those pictures come in from our Disneyland reporter, just so sad. But hey, Magic Kingdom got Gideon and Foulfellow from Pinocchio, so that's the same. Universal had their Halloween spirit kickoff as well. For starters, the Dark Arts projection show at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter returned, which is just like the projection show that I already mentioned, except for this one is a special one for Halloween, which features Dementors and spiders and Death Eaters and the Dark Mark, and it's a really fun show. Not only because of the show, but because the Death Eaters came back to Universal as well. This is a very fun thing they do around Halloween, where Death Eaters come out at night. They have smoke and fog, and the Death Eaters creepily loom around, and you can challenge them to a duel. Also coming back to Universal this year, Halloween Horror Nights. In fact, it came back for their 30th anniversary of the premier Halloween event. Halloween Horror Nights has been one of the most popular, if not the most popular Halloween event in the country for years. And they didn't have it last year. They had a few houses just for fun, but this year they came back in full force with 10 houses, 5 different scare zones, and a lot of them honored characters and lore that Halloween Horror Nights has built up over the past 30 years. So it was a really, really fun event. I went in being terrified and came out going multiple nights because I had such a good time. Back to Disney World, EPCOT update. You may know EPCOT's going through a huge transformation. A lot of it was supposed to be done for the 50th, but of course, things got pushed back. However, in September, we finally got some of those new things, starting with the Creation Shop, which replaced Mouse Gear, a brand new shop. Also, Club Cool returned in an all-new look, but don't worry, Beverly is still there. The biggest update over at EPCOT, though, was Space 220 finally opened. This is that restaurant themed to being 220 miles above the stratosphere where you get to eat in space. I've done multiple videos there. We'll link the full review of Space 220, and it is probably the most popular and hardest reservation to get in all of Walt Disney World now. Also making its debut a little bit early at the end of September, Harmonious. This is the all-new nighttime spectacular coming to EPCOT for the 50th, which meant we said goodbye to EPCOT forever, but Harmonious made its debut. Harmonious is an incredible show with the barges in the middle of World Showcase Lagoon, which, yes, we can all agree, don't look great. Why can't they collapse? I don't know. The show itself is incredible. You are going to hear music from Mulan, The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, The Jungle Book. And not only are you going to hear it in English, but you're going to hear it in the language it would be sung around the world. It has fireworks, it has projections, it has lasers. It's truly an amazing show, and it really encompasses the feel of EPCOT, in my opinion. Also, the first of the Beacons of Magic debuted at the end of September. The Beacons of Magic are at the 4 parks, and they're illuminated each night to represent the 50 years of magic for Walt Disney World's 50th. Spaceship Earth truly understood the assignment, and it is breathtaking, jaw-droppingly gorgeous. Over at the Contemporary Resort, it finally reopened with some Incredibles themed rooms. This is their way of adding in a little bit of IP, and I think it was done really, really well once again. There's a few little Incredibles touches here and there throughout the room, bringing a favorite film franchise to life inside the Contemporary and adding a little touch of freshness. Speaking of resorts, resort guests got to take advantage of early theme park entries starting at the end of September. This allowed you into the theme parks 30 minutes earlier than anyone else, as well as access to some of the most popular attractions. And a big deal for the country, Broadway came back in September. Big opening nights for shows such as The Lion King and Wicked. I personally got to go to Hamilton on reopening night in New York City, and let me tell you, it is something I will never forget. As each of the main characters came out, people applauded and cheered, and they had to stall the whole show. And then when Miguel Cervantes, who was incredible as Alexander, came out and said the kicker line, "Alexander Hamilton, my name is Alexander Hamilton," the entire theater stood up, applauded, clapped. He was crying, the performers were crying, I was crying. What an amazing moment to be back in live theater. And Lin-Manuel Miranda himself came to welcome back the show. It was a huge highlight of the year for me personally, but it was also just so welcoming to see live theater come back. Exciting ticket news for this month. Disney annual passes became for sale again for guests starting in September. There are new versions of the annual passes, different names, different benefits of each one, but Disney annual passes hadn't been on sale since the parks reopened. So it was very exciting if you wanted an annual pass and weren't able to get one. Last but not least, in September, Disney debuted some of the other touches of the 50th anniversary, which officially kicked off in October, including decorations on Cinderella Castle. They did adornments to go with the brand new look of Cindy Castle, which debuted when the parks reopened last year. Little tinsel, little jewelry, little Mary Blair artwork. Maybe a little bit too much in some places, depending on who you ask, but she's all dressed up for the anniversary. They also debuted the little statues of characters around all 4 theme parks. Disney said they were going to do 50 different characters to celebrate 50 years of magic. And they made some choices. Not only can you see fabulous friends such as Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, Chip, and Dale, Pluto, classic friends you'd expect to see. You can see some theme park friends such as Orange Bird and Figment. You can see other beloved characters such as Winnie the Pooh and Dumbo and Pinocchio. Sidekicks such as Lumiere, Cogsworth, Sebastian, Flounder. And then there's things like Bruni the Salamander from Frozen 2 and Bo Peep with Woody instead of Buzz. I'm not saying they made bad choices. I'm just saying Bruni the Salamander got one and not a single princess did. So... And our pop culture moment of September, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings made its debut in theaters. Personally, one of the best Marvel movies of all time, in my opinion, but this was a sleeper hit and people loved this film. Buckle up, friends, because this is the big one. October celebrates 50 years of magic at Walt Disney World, which officially opened October 1st, 1971. Disney World's 50th anniversary started off with a bang. And by a bang, I mean a guest's fist literally banging into another guest's face in the Emporium as people fist fought over merchandise when it dropped on the 1st. None of it was even limited edition. You could get it on Shop Disney, but okay, fight over a Starbucks tumbler, you animals. To the Beacon of Magic at Spaceship Earth, the beacons debuted at Magic Kingdom. Of course, it's Cinderella Castle. Animal Kingdom, of course, it's the Tree of Life. And Hollywood Studios, where it's the Tower of Terror. These really are special moments that you can enjoy at the end of your park day, so make sure you do, as the 50th anniversary is continuing all through 2022. A new cavalcade made its debut dancing down the streets at Magic Kingdom, featuring Mickey and the gang in their 50th anniversary iridescent costumes. Tons and tons of snacks made their debut. Over 150 new items across the parks and resorts came for the 50th anniversary. Lots of them are blue, some of them are delicious, some of them are an octopus tentacle and a Bloody Mary. But I did a whole snack video about the 50th, go check it out. We actually covered a lot of stuff for the 50th. I did a video all about that too, which we will link for you here, because there are so many things that Disney did for the 50th. Probably the other biggest ones come in both Magic Kingdom and Epcot. At Magic Kingdom, Disney Enchantment made its debut. This is the new fireworks spectacular that replaced Happily Ever After, and for the first time ever included projections dancing all the way down Main Street, not just on Cinderella Castle. The show has been met with mixed reviews by people who loved Happily Ever After, or by people who say it's not really a celebration of the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World and more about Disney movies. I can agree with the second group of people there. I really like Enchantment. As a disclaimer, I've seen it multiple times from multiple angles, and I think it's a very, very good show. The projections are amazing, especially on Main Street. The fireworks are literally bigger and better than Happily Ever After. Like, they used more pyro, not opinion, actual statement. I talked to the people that made it, and they are using big, giant, amazing, mind-blowing fireworks. Tinkerbell still flies, which is always gonna make you cry, and I really do like this new song, You Are the Magic. Plus, it's narrated by Queen Angela Bassett, which I'm always gonna be behind. Where I personally think this is lacking is it doesn't feel like a 50th Walt Disney World celebration. There's not any special in-park music. There's no mention of Walt or Roy, who made the dream come true. So that's my only critique, but I do like the show. Go see it if you haven't already, and make your judgments once you're actually in the park enjoying it. The other big thing that came with the 50th is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure officially opened over in Epcot. They expanded the entire pavilion and even included a brand new restaurant, the Crêperie de Paris, which has both a sit-down restaurant as well as a walk-up window where you can get authentic French crepes and galettes. But Remy's Ratatouille Adventure was the headliner here. This ride, straight out of Disneyland Paris, is a 3D family attraction that shrinks you down to the size of a rat and goes on an adventure with Remy. Speaking of Epcot, we said goodbye to Future World officially. Let's have a moment of silence. And hello to the Epcot neighborhoods. As part of the transformation of Epcot, they are ditching Future World and World Showcase. They're keeping the name World Showcase, but the front of the park is being divided into World Discovery, World Nature, and World Celebration neighborhoods. Those are the official names they're using now, but even if you still call it Future World, I don't blame you, because so do I. We're not done with October yet though, friends, because Steakhouse 71, an all-new restaurant that replaced the Wave at Disney's Contemporary Resort, opened. This steakhouse has opened breakfast, lunch, and dinner and has truly been an underrated gem of the year. I've eaten there multiple times already, and each time I go, I marvel at the fact that this is not a signature restaurant. An incredible burger on the menu, great cocktails, great service. Love the retro vibe with pictures of Walt and some of the early Imagineers. Definitely gave a much-needed facelift to this restaurant, and it's become a very popular restaurant, even though it was kind of a sleeper hit of the 50th. Over at Disney's Animal Kingdom, we were blessed with the magic that is Kite Tales, an all-new show on the water across from Expedition Everest. No, I'm not kidding. Yes, I really love this show. This show takes kites upwards of 50 feet long as they drive them around on the back of jet skis. It is so much fun. I dare you to watch this show and not smile, especially because what goes up must come down. The kites have to crash in the water or in the stands next to people, and it is truly delightful. Late extended hours came back, but only for deluxe resort guests. This was once a perk for any resort guest could stay on select nights at the theme parks after they close. And now it's only for those staying at deluxe and deluxe villa resorts. Epcot and Magic Kingdom are the only parks to have extended evening hours at this point, but we'll keep you posted if that changes in this year. Port Orleans French Quarter officially opened in October, and while that's exciting because we love a resort reopening, we more importantly care about beignets. Mickey beignets had been missing from Walt Disney World since the closure in March 2020, and I was finally reunited with those delectable powder sugary treats over at Port Orleans. They are truly one of my favorite Disney snacks, and I was glad to see them return. Also returning, character meet and greets started in another modified fashion. Surprise reopened early, Mickey at Town Square Theater in his new 50th outfit, as well as the princesses at Fairy Tale Hall. These are still distance modified meet and greets, so you can't give them a hug, you can't get their autograph, you have to stay at a distance, but you're getting a lot closer and a lot more personal time with these favorite characters than you were before. In October, Quincy and I did this for Halloween. And probably the biggest change in all of Walt Disney World the entire year, debuted in October. You know what it is, Disney Genie. Disney Genie debuted on October 19th in Walt Disney World. This is the new replacement to Disney's FastPass Plus service. This is a very hot topic. People have a lot of feelings about it, but just speaking straightforwardly, Disney Genie is an addition to the My Disney Experience app that has 3 different levels of service. The Disney Genie is a free service within the app that'll help you plan your day and provide custom itineraries. Genie Plus is basically what replaced FastPass Plus. Genie Plus is $15 per person per day and allows you to skip the lines at over 40 different attractions across all 4 parks. But to keep making things more confusing, Disney added individual Lightning Lane a la carte paid selections, which I deemed fancy rides. These are 2 of the biggest and most popular rides at each park that if you want to ride them and skip the line, you have to pay extra to access the Lightning Lane. Some people love it because the inventory is more fair, like old paper fast pass, plus you don't have to choose things months in advance. Some people hating it because you have to pay for it and fast pass plus used to be free, but I think we can all agree that it's incredibly confusing. To me, that's the biggest problem with Genie Plus, is that there are so many rules to follow, so many things you have to figure out. It is very, very complicated, which is why I made 1 million approximately Genie Plus videos this year. We can set you up with those if you need help, because I promise you, if you're gonna use this service, or even if you're not gonna use this service, you're going to want to know how it works and how it will impact your day, because it definitely impacted the attractions at the parks. Pop culture moments of October. These were some fun ones. Muppet Haunted Mansion made its debut on Disney Plus, and special shout out, the Lightyear trailer dropped, and as a diehard Buzz Lightyear fan, this was another highlight of my year. November. First things first, let's kick things off with a little holiday merriment. Disney's Most Merriest After Hours debuted. This is what replaced Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. And while it is more expensive than the Christmas parties were and a little bit shorter, it was a better event than the Boo Bash. 1, it was a little bit longer. 2, you got fireworks back. 3, you got the first parade Disney had seen in a park, and 4, you still got a stage show. So it felt a lot more like a real party and that things were back to normal at the Magic Kingdom. Disneyland also had a Christmas event, and once again, as much fun as I had at Most Merriest, I was furious when I saw that the Muppets went caroling in Disneyland. Why can't the Muppets carol here? They also had Buzz Lightyear dancing at like a club in Tomorrowland. What? The only thing that calms me down that we didn't get the Muppets here in Walt Disney World is the fact that the Merry Menagerie returned to Animal Kingdom this year. This is the most joyous and wonderful holiday thing I've ever seen anywhere, probably. It is these beautiful winter animal puppets at Animal Kingdom that come to life because of these incredible performers. They only existed in 2019, obviously didn't happen in 2020, and I was so glad they were back this year, because I promise you, if you go look at that reindeer or that seal or those little penguins interacting with yourself and other guests, you will just feel nothing but joy in your heart. Hi, Lucille. Oh, hi.
My goodness.
Universal's Holiday Parade featuring Macy's Balloons was able to come back this year, and it again features those big balloons like you see at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Grinchmas was able to come back in full force, including the Grinchmas show, which is quite a delight if you ask me. And the Hogwarts Magic of Christmas show came back. Last year, you could see the Magic of Christmas Hogwarts lights only if you booked yourself a spot on the VIP Christmas tour, but this year it's back for all guests to enjoy once it gets dark. Unrelated to Christmas, but still very exciting, Coco was added to Mickey's PhilharMagic in the Magic Kingdom. They added a great new scene with Dante, Miguel, and some of the other characters from Coco into that classic 3D show. Bad news from November, Disney paused annual pass sales. So they came back in September. They're still on pause right now. The only one you can purchase is the Florida resident only pass. We'll let you know when they change this rule. And on November 18th, Drawn to Life, an all-new Cirque du Soleil show, made its debut at Disney Springs. This is the first ever collaboration between Disney and Cirque du Soleil, where they actually used Disney animation drawn by legendary animator Eric Goldberg just for the show and incorporate it into the incredible acts. You will laugh, you will cry. If you're like me, you will be incredibly stressed watching these amazing acrobats do daring tasks from very high up. But it's a really great show if you're looking for something special, perhaps a date night or a special activity in the evening one day on your trip. And our pop culture moment of November, 2 big films hit theaters. Encanto, Walt Disney Studios' 60th animated feature film, debuted in theaters. What a spectacular film. Music by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Would you expect any less? Absolutely fabulous. It's free on Disney Plus now, so go watch it if you haven't. The Eternals, the Marvel film, also hit theaters, and it was fine. We've made it to the final month of the year, December. Let's jump right in. First things first, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular made its return to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Your feet didn't have to walk as far at Magic Kingdom because since the first time since the closure, the trams at the parking lot returned to Magic Kingdom. Now they're supposed to return to all of the parks sometime in early 2022. So as I've said before, follow our newsletter, follow us on social media and at our blog, and we will update you when that happens. More exciting restaurant news, Artist Point reopened at Disney's Wilderness Lodge. And this is a big deal because this is the first time face character dining had come back to Walt Disney World. Snow White and the Evil Queen are part of the lineup there, so maybe we'll see more princess dining come back in 2022. In weird news to close out the year, there was a small fire in Magic Kingdom near Cinderella Castle. No one was hurt, luckily, but there was a fire and fire trucks in Magic Kingdom, which is wild. There were changes made to Genie Plus and Resort perks at the end of the year for the busiest time of year, Christmas time. One of the fancy rides in each park was added into Genie Plus, meaning it would be included in that $15 fee. Frozen Ever After, Space Mountain, Expedition Everest, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Also, early park entry was extended from 30 minutes to 60 minutes for resort guests. While these changes are set to close at the end of the busy season, that does mean that things could change for resort guests and Genie Plus purchasers in the future of this year. So, who knows? And sadly, the last Magical Express bus has driven its last drive. Magical Express, the free service from Orlando Airport to all of the Walt Disney World resorts, ended on December 31st of 2021. Now, if you'd like to use Disney-sponsored services, they've got partnerships with Mears and a few other companies, but they are a paid service at this point. Of course, you can also take an Uber, you can rent a car, but there is no longer a free way to get from Orlando Airport to Walt Disney World. Me laughing at me thinking I could record a year-end review before the year was actually over because Universal Orlando just had some breaking news. I reported on it from here at Hollywood Studios. Universal, for the first time since May, updated their mask policy going into effect on Christmas Eve of this year. Masks are now required indoors for all team members and guests regardless of vaccination status. Indoors include shops, restaurants, common areas of resorts, and all attractions from the time you enter the queue to the time you leave the attraction. So that's a big deal that Universal updated their mask policy after so long having it the way it was. We'll keep you updated as mask policies continue to change at both Universal and Disney as we head into 2022. And our pop culture moment from December 2021, and possibly the biggest one all year long, Spider-Man No Way Home swung into theaters, smashing records and becoming one of the most popular Marvel movies of all time. Some people say it's better than Endgame. I don't agree with some people, but it's easily the best Spider-Man movie, and it was incredible. My mind is still blown. I'm still finishing drying my eyes. If you haven't seen it yet, no spoilers here, but go see it. What a ride. It was a wild and crazy year in theme park news in 2021. We had the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, we had 2 Skyliner crashes, a fire in the Magic Kingdom, Donald as a plant, tons of Marvel information, new lands, new attractions. It's been a year. So thank you for sticking with me through this whole video, and thank you for following us along throughout the year. Whether we are providing you latest tips and tricks on Genie Plus, the Disney news on Instagram and through our newsletter and our blog posts, or we're just having a good time on RTT, we couldn't do any of this without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your support through 2021, and we look forward to providing the news for you in 2022. It's already gonna be a big year. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, the Disney Wish cruise ship, the Star Cruiser. It's gonna be ramping up here in a couple of weeks, so I hope you're ready to follow along for a brand new exciting year. I have no idea what to expect, but I know nothing will surprise me more than Plant Donald. Thanks for watching, friends. Have a great new year.
Want to see more of my videos? Click over here. Want to subscribe? You can do that right here. And also, ring that notification bell to make sure you get instantly notified anytime we post a new video. Thanks for following. See you real soon.